Write to us on our WhatsApp number. But do remember to tell us your name, the stock that you'd like to know about, and whether you've bought it or not, what level you bought it, and whether you intend to hold it for a short term or the long term. The first question we've got is from Padma Sevarao, who is asking about BSE. She's got 1,000 shares which she bought at levels of 1,000, and this, she says, is before the bonus, Gaurang. She says she wants to know whether she can hold this as part of a core portfolio, and she's wondering whether or not it will correct from this point based on the fundamentals. What's the view?
So Alex, I'll give a sectorial view because we don't have a stock-specific view on the fundamental as far as this particular stock is concerned. So let me say this on the sector. I mean, we all know how the markets have behaved and where the growth lies in terms of long-term investors. And our sense is that if you have invested in a good company, in sector which affiliates to or offers platforms for investing into Indian stock market, then our sense is that you should not worry about short to medium term up and down. If you have your focus clear in terms of long-term investment idea, then you should possibly, continue your investments in all those sound companies which is associated with Indian stock markets or are offering platforms for investment. Unfortunately, no stock-specific comment because we don't have a coverage. But yes, the Indian stock market is poised to grow at a very steady pace, and all those companies which are fundamentally strong and sound will deliver long-term returns to long-term investors.
All right. As of now, we have a lot of queries actually pouring in on both of, actually on social media platform as well as on WhatsApp. So request the experts to keep the answers a tad bit shorter. This one is for you, Kunal. This one's from Kaji, and he's saying that he sold Hdfc and Hdfc Bank at the recent highs. He wants to know, is it time to take position in Hdfc Bank now, or should he wait for the gap to fill?
I think those gaps have started to fill up, for the HDFC and HDFC Bank stocks. Now, I think the gap is closer to 2470 and 2560, 65 for HDFC. So that's almost like a 100-point gap for the stock. And I think today we've started to enter into those gap levels. We can expect another maybe 30-40 points downtick for the stock. But if you've sold at the higher point of the trade, then I think these are phenomenal risk rewards for you to enter. So I think without much ado, I think you should start nibbling in again.
Okay, there is a request from one of our viewers, Asha Vagish from Bangalore. She wants to see Kunal smile. She says Kunal never smiles, so I'm going to make him smile right now for you, Asha. And I'm going to ask him your question, which is she bought Tata Power at levels of 96, 2,500 units. She's asking whether to book profits at this juncture.
I would suggest no. I mean, if there is no urgency of funds, then I believe you should definitely look to hold on. It's a classical stock. Now, we've time and again on the show as well, I've mentioned that Tata Power has major supports at 200, 220. The stock tried to come into those territories as well in the last 2 months. And look at the bounce back the stock has seen today. And the stock is now perched at a fresh lifetime high for itself. Look at this recovery from the last, I think, 2 years from the pandemic lows of 50, 60 rupees for Tata Power. It's done fabulously well. So I believe that if you've bought at levels of 95, 96, and you're not in any urgency of funds, you should definitely look to hold on and look to add further as well. I think 200 seems to be a good support on long-term basis. So keep that as a level to further add the stock.
All right, this one is coming from Dasaradi, and he's saying that he has 26 shares allocated of Nuvoco Vista at a price of around 570 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he can buy some more or exit. What's your take on this one, Gaurang? Do you track Nuvoco Vista?
Apologies, Cheryl, we don't track the stock.
Kunal, do you? I know it's a fairly recently listed counter, but have you been able to track this one?
Well, I do track it regularly, but then looking at the charts, it's stored as a very interesting name. The last 6 months, the stock had corrected from 550 levels to a low of 300, which it made, I think, last month or so. And from 300, the stock is gradually moving towards 390. So, it's fallen by more than 50%, and it's now trying to recover 30% from those lows. So, not a major recovery in terms of chart patterns. I would suggest an avoid, or if you're holding, the stock at higher levels, I would suggest to square off.
Okay, Gaurang, next one's for you on the auto space. We've got our viewer Vivek who tuned in for the BNS and Lens segment, and he was wondering about your view on Maruti. Has it changed? He says that he remembers you being positive on it.
It has changed, and that is one of the reasons why I have not mentioned Maruti in the entire universe of auto stocks that I have mentioned just a while back. And one of the reasons why we have a reduced call on Maruti, and it has changed, Alex, just for an update, was primarily because of Maruti being one of the largest passenger vehicle manufacturing company. They were living in denial when it came to transformation in terms of ICE engines to electric vehicles. And it was very clearly mentioned by the management, not once, but number of times. But now they have reckoned the fact that, yes, change is something that they need to adopt. And now they have started to talk about making investments into manufacturing of e-vehicles. I think the first rollout would be possible end of 2024 or early 2025. By that time, the existing companies or competitors like Tata Motors or M&M, as a matter of fact, would be gaining length and breadth of the market share, especially Tata Motors. Already, I think it commands close to about 66% plus of EV market. So, I mean, if you are in profits, move to Tata Motors. I think that would be a better choice.
All right, this one is coming from Manas Gore, and it's on RK Forgings. He's asking whether it can be bought for the longer term at current market price. What's your take on this one, Gaurang?
I'll give it a pass. We don't cover this stock.
What's your take on RK Forgings?
I think it's a brilliant stock. It's done fabulously well from the pandemic lows. 20 rupees to 240 was the journey for RK Forging, and from 240, the stock has corrected towards 160, 180. I think where it's currently trading. So I think it's a very good chart on the longer term basis, and the stock has also corrected quite substantially from its 240 highs just about some 6-7 months back. So good levels where you can look to enter.
Okay. I believe the next question is on Zydus Life Sciences. We've got a question coming in from Neha. She's writing in from Kolkata. She's bought at levels of 370 and looking for a short-term perspective on this particular stock. Kunal, what should she do?
Well, my sense is that the pharma stocks and the pharma index is trying to make a strong comeback for themselves. Of course, the large cap ones can stand to outperform, but these underperformers like Zydus or erstwhile Cadila, I think these stocks can slowly and gradually move up higher as well. So I would believe that persist with it for say another couple of months. My sense is that Zydus as well can come back towards 425, 450 levels, and if the pharma index gets into a much more stronger or reporting rally, then you can see much higher levels. But being a moderate target, I think 425, 450 is what you can look out for Zydus.
All right. Actually, I have a lot of short-term queries, but let me take this one to you, Gaurang. And this one's from Jitendra. And he's asking whether is it the right time to enter and buy easy trip planners at current market price. He's looking to hold this counter for the longer term. What's your take on this one? A reopened trade? Do you think it makes sense to invest in it right now?
I think these are all new age kind of companies which have got listed some time back. And again, a sectorial view. Cheryl, because no specific coverage on Easy Trip. So with the demand coming back and the new normal set in, I think you should definitely look at strong fundamental companies which enable tourism kind of activity, and also enables you to and provides you with a platform of booking your tickets, hotels, etc. Unfortunately, no specific coverage, but you should look at strong companies in this sector.
Another one for you, Gaurang. This is a couple of stocks to look at, and this is coming in from Mr. R.K. Ahuja. He is holding on to Jamna Auto, and he's wondering, I do not know what level he bought at, but based on fundamentals, he's wondering whether to sell Jamna Auto and buy something like a JK Paper. What's the view here?
Well, we don't cover either Jamna Auto or JK Paper, but since he's asking for an alternative investment idea, I think stick to Tata Motors from the entire four-wheeler pack. This stock is possibly poised to give you fantastic returns over a longer period of time.
Okay, this one is from Mahindra Patnaik, and this one is for you, Kunal. First of all, he's saying that not many can pull off a violet suit color. he wants to tell you that it's really looking good on you and you're carrying it off really well. So this is coming in from Mahindra Patnaik. And also he has a query for you. He's saying that he has 20 shares of Tech Mahindra that he's purchased at 1,200 rupees per share. He wants to know whether it makes sense to add some more for the short term. And also, let me just take one more query on Tech Mahindra. I think I had from Joy Sheila, if I am not mistaken, on Tech Mahindra itself. And I think he wants an entry level for Tech Mahindra for the short term.
First of all, thank you so much for the acknowledgement. And Alex, that made me smile twice on the show today. Coming to the query on Tech Mahindra, my sense is that these IT stocks, they can get to a drag more for at least another couple of quarters. Now, if you've bought at lower levels of 1,200, the stock is, I think, at 1450, 1460 levels. You may look to book out partial profits and then look to re-enter, say, post results, or if these stocks get into a correction phase. But I'm extremely clear that my sense is that the next 3 to 4 quarters, you could probably see these stocks getting into a time-wise correction. Now, if you're a long-term player, then Tech Mahindra is a phenomenal stock which you should hold on. So if you have a time frame of 3 years, 5 years plus, then it makes sense to hold on to the stock. But if it's restricted towards very short-term time frame, I believe some adjustments, what you can do, you can book profits at current levels and look to buy back if the stock corrects to 1350 or lower than that.
Okay. We've got another question coming your way, Kunal, and this one's on EIH Associated Hotels, which Rajni bought at levels of 509 today itself. This is a stock that is in focus. It has lost some ground. It's trading still higher by over 10% at 501. What should she do? Short-term view.
See, I believe it's a slightly elevated level where you've entered. I think it's at the peak of the intraday trade where you've entered. If you're looking to average it out further, I would suggest maybe a 490, 492 could be a good point where you can look to average out. That will help your cost price come slightly below a 500 mark or just around that 500 mark for itself. That could be a better trade. You can look to hold on. If it's not an intraday query, then you can definitely look to hold on for at least another week.
Okay, this one is from Vijay Lele, and this one I'll take to you, Gaurang. He's asking whether he should hold on to TCS remaining shares after the buyback. He's saying his time horizon is about 3 years. Considering he wants to hold it for the longer term, and TCS, you think it's a good bet, nothing to have second thoughts about?
I think you should not even think of selling it, whatever you have, or I would go to the length of saying that whatever you have tendered to the company and the company has bought back from you, buy it back from the current market share, because you have tendered it at 4,500 if I'm not mistaken. That was the buyback price. And not only this time but earlier 3 buybacks also, we had maintained that for long-term investors there is no need to dabble in the stock by giving it to the company in buyback and then possibly buying it back at lower level. In stock market, Cheryl, either you are a trader or an investor, and from an investment point of view, stay invested, buy back the shares which are taken by the company and continue to hold on from a long-term point of view.
Okay, we've got a question on JSW Energy. Sudha wants to know whether you would buy, and these are a couple of stocks in different sectors, Gaurang, but JSW Energy or Vedanta for at least a year. Would you suggest buying into either of these names? Sudha wants to know.
So Vedanta would be the one that I would definitely recommend to go ahead and buy from a long-term point of view. And in the power pack, I think my friend Kunal just mentioned about Tata Power a while back, and the caller was inquiring about Tata Power. I think this is one stock that you should look at, even though it has gone into a blue sky territory or a new horizon or a lifetime high. I think there is a lot that is happening with the company in terms of growth visibility.
This one is for you, Kunal. This one is from Sagar. He wants a technical view on Paytm. He's saying the charts are showing reversal sign. Also, a fundamental view also would be good on this one. He's saying as MF houses are entering in heavy quantity, despite all the negative news around it. Should I take this one to you, Gaurang, on Paytm fundamentals?
Well, we all know what has happened to it. New age to old age. I would give it a pass.
Then Kunal, technical view on Paytm.
So if you remember, Alex that and Cheryl, that last, I think a month odd, when the stock was at 530, there was a lot of query for Paytm, and I mentioned that the stock has entered into oversold territory. So it makes a lot of sense to buy the stock at those levels purely from a trading play. Now, I think even at current levels, I believe that the stock is at an extremely oversold point on the charts, and there should be a stronger revival for Paytm over the very near term. So purely as a momentum bet, I believe that the stock could be poised for even a 700, 750 range over the next maybe couple of months.
Wow. Okay. This next question is interesting. Prabhakar from Hyderabad wants to sell a plot of land, Gaurang, and invest in stocks. He's therefore, I think, got a long-term view, and he's intending to hold these for a while. Could you suggest a few names he can start with at least?
Well, first of all, I am no expert as far as real estate is concerned, but I leave it to his fine sense of judgment and wisdom, Alex. And if he's wanting to take the plunge, well, you're welcome to the stock market. Please be absolutely clear. Stock market is all about high risk, high return. But at the same time and in the same breath, long-term data shows that equity market, if you've invested wisely and in sound companies from a long-term point of view, has delivered one of the best returns, barring, of course, the recent run-up in the crypto, which, of course, I am no expert again. But yeah, look at large cap IT names, look at private sector large cap banks, look at cement, metals. A contrarian call on autos, I have listed down almost about 8 or 9 companies. You could possibly look over there. And again, one more contrarian call would be FMCG sector. I think time correction and valuation have become attractive. And India is a consumption driven story, Alex. So yeah, you could look at these sectors, but keep your focus in large cap.
All right, and with that, let's kickstart with our query segment. And the first one is, I beg your pardon, rapid fire segment. And this one is from Manoj. He wants an entry level for NOSL for the short term. Kunal?
Well, I think current levels is good enough for you to enter. On the target front, you can look out for maybe a 275, almost a 10% higher target from current levels.
Okay, more of a strategy question for you, Kunal. Sudha wants to know between swing trading or long-term investing, which is ideal to make regular returns.
So asking a trader, I'll always prefer swing trading.
All right, this one is coming in from Mutupalani, and he wants a view on clean tech, clean science and tech. He has 100 shares purchased at 2,043 rupees per share. What's your view on this one, Gaurav?
Well, again, we don't cover the stock, but Cheryl, I think as an alternative investment idea, look at Mindtree or Tata Alex.
Panama Petrochem. Kunal, this one's for you. Bought at level? No, can it be bought at current levels? Is the question coming in from Neha.
Well, you can look to buy. Keep a stop loss around this 260, which also coincides with the 200 DMA. And on the target front, you can look out for maybe 315 as a potential target.
Okay, this one's from Shanmuga Sundaram. Garware Technical Fibers, 30 shares purchased at 2,850 rupees per share. Can he add some more? It's a 1-year horizon that he's looking at, Kunal.
Well, I would suggest buy, and I think possible, you can look to maybe hold on and increase your time frame. These are quality stocks, and you should hold on to it for at least maybe 3 to 5 years kind of a time frame.
Okay, Shadab is asking about Birla Soft. This one's for you as well, Kunal. Bought at levels of 453. Does he hold?
I'll suggest to book profits over here.
All right, and this one is coming in from Palani Yappan, and he wants a view on PC Jewelers. He's already purchased the level of 29 rupees per share, holding around 1,500 shares. Gaurang?
You know the history behind it. Why do you want to, waste your savings into these kind of stocks? We don't cover the stock, but in the sector, Titan Company would be the best suited investment idea from a long term.
Okay. Gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this query segment. Thank you so much for joining in and for sharing your views. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have benefited from them. And for all the viewers who've tuned in who've not had their queries answered, and there are quite a few of you I can see on the screen, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you've benefited somewhat from the other queries that were answered. And do stay tuned. We've got lots more coming up after this short break.
₹25 right now. After 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
See, Nikunj, you're a very